Hello, welcome to Sound Bites. I'm your host, Holly Whitfield from the Daily Memphian. We are back with part 2 of our interview with Chef Jimmy Gentry of the Lobbyist and Paradox Catering. And as we heard in part 1, Cozy Mel's Mexican restaurant, formerly of Poplar Avenue along the Germantown Memphis border. That was also a part of his past that we got into in part 1, so make sure you go back and listen if you haven't already. Know that Sound Bites is the Daily Memphian's weekly dining podcast. It's free to listen to. You can get it at dailymemphian.com, on your podcast apps, or WYXR Radio on Thursdays at 11. Again, last time we talked about Jimmy's journey into the restaurant industry, a ton of really fascinating Memphis restaurant lore, and what it's like to get included in the Michelin Guide. So go back and listen to that. But right now we're going to jump right back in, part 2, picking up where we left off. I want to come back and I want to talk all about the Lobbyist.
Okay.
But let's take a second and talk about the awards. Since we're talking about the attention.
Okay.
So is it this year? No, last year, end of 2025, you were included, you and your team, the Lobbyists, were included in the Michelin Guide's very first. They finally decided to recognize restaurants in the American South category.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
What was that process like? Did you find out about a nomination? Did you know that they were coming, or did you just get an email one day?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Like we get this email and says you may be included, or, hey, we need some information. We will let you know, basically. And at that point, no, we didn't know that they were coming. We would have never thought that they would have come. I called everybody that I knew. Well, I'll hold that for a second.
Yeah.
But, we got the thing, we sent everything in, and we were done. And it was getting closer and closer to time for
them to announce. Yeah.
To announce. And at that point, that's when I'm asking people, hey, have you heard anything about this Michelin thing? Are you going? Have you heard anything?
Folks in the industry.
Yeah. Around here, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to say that I have, but I'm also not trying to make sure I'm treading water to the fact that I'm not trying to put anybody down, and I'm not trying to put myself out there that this may be something that is going on.
Yes. But you really wanted information.
But I needed to know if I'm out or if I'm in, right? And, we didn't get the letter for the availability to go till not long before we were supposed to be there. And I'd reached out to one of the chefs I'd met at one of the James Beard dinners that we've done in town over the years, and reached out to Kelly. I was like, hey, how does this work?
Yeah. I
mean, are they going to tell us where because he got 2 stars last year. And I was like, how's this working? How's this, and should I just pack my shit up and just stay home?
Yeah.
But then we got the letter, and that was a whole nother thing. Yeah.
Yeah. How did it feel?
Still don't know what I got.
Yeah.
Right. I honestly thought that we would get a bib. Because that's one thing that I've always felt most important at any of the restaurants I work at is price, perception, value. Can I do this? Can you come in and knock out most of my menu for a couple of $100 and have way too much food for you and walk out of here going, yes.
Yeah.
That's what
I'm glad I spent that money. Yeah.
And that's where I've always tried to be. We looked at a menu the other day from day one. And yes, our prices have gone up, but it's not necessarily, and I had this argument with somebody over the past couple of years because everybody's talking about how much everything goes up and how much this is. And, some of the small farmers, most of their prices haven't gone up. It's the companies that sell stuff that have to go through 3 hands before they sell it. The guy down the street's not necessarily going to charge me 3 times the price because he hasn't necessarily seen the increase yet, right? So all of my prices over the past couple of years have gone up strictly because of volume. We had 2 years downtown, and, I talked to everybody and their grandmother over the past 2 years about how downtown, we started great, and it just
That's really one of the main questions I have for you. So let's talk about the Lobbyist.
Yeah.
Opened in the Chiska building, former hotel, famous historic building. And the space was...
Swanky's.
What was it before Swanky's? Life Kitchen.
Life Kitchens.
Life Kitchen.
Yep.
Then it was a Swanky's Taco.
Yep.
Okay, now you're coming in and you're gonna make the Lobbyist. And what is your vision for the Lobbyist? You're keeping with this vegetables or stars, but you're gonna do some more. You're gonna expand on that. Clearly, like from my experience.
Yeah. And literally, that's what we did.
Yeah. And opened in 2023.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So what was your vision?
Kind of you nailed it. I mean, I had success in Collierville, or we had success in Collierville with what we were doing. And, for me, if you've got that, if you've created a following, right, I've never understood this with restaurants or whatever the case may be of, you have this and it's great. And then you go down the street and you completely change and you're like, you're not the same. Why the hell am I here? That
is so tough. Because I've talked to people who are like, I don't want to do the original thing I was doing anymore. But you have to understand the sacrifice you're making. You could lose your following.
Yeah. I mean,
but if you love what you're doing, then it sounds like you don't have that problem.
Well, it may be considered talking out of turn, but even with Iris going from the small, quaint, really nice, old school French vibe to go into out east. Those are two different spaces.
Yeah.
And you get two different types of clientele. And, I'm sure at some level that some of the people that identify with original Iris may not like new Iris.
Right. And Kelly talked about this a lot when he was on Sound Bites. Yeah. And so I think he would probably agree with what you're saying. He talks about we're growing up with our clientele. Like we're paying more attention to the neighborhood, not paying more attention, but like we're going to pay more attention to the neighborhood around us by opening the second line there. So it's an interesting comparison to talk about the different paths you can take when you have to evolve. You have to take your next step. Like he had to evolve out of the small former home and restaurant house. You guys had to leave Collierville. You had to leave the building at P.O. Press for reasons beyond your control, pretty much.
But it's figuring out how you evolve, and and everybody has their own take. I don't know the backside of it, but either you stay true to you, or you have to figure out that it's a tightrope, right? Finding a place that does only steaks, and now all of a sudden you're doing this. It's a fine line, but as long as you stay true to your soul, brand, whatever the hell you may want to call it,
or even your journey, if you want to, if you're changing, So. Let's talk about that then. Let's talk about some of the dishes. If there's something that you brought over to the Lobbyist from P.O. Press.
So couldn't get rid of the carrots and couldn't get rid of the corn mash.
I can't tell if you're happy about that or.
I had no problem with the corn mash. Right?
Yeah.
Never had. I thought it was a solid dish. I never thought that it was going to be the dish.
Yeah.
Right? If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And that one slightly evolved along the way too. That's when Cole was working for me in PO. So
is that Cole Jeans?
Yeah,
Cole Jeans now of Kinfolk, Hard Times,
all that,
and all of those things. Okay, so this is the dish that was included in the top 26 best dishes in U.S. 2024.
Yes, ma'am.
For the New York Times.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the corn mash.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've definitely written about it for Daily Memphis. I think hopefully everyone has.
Yeah.
Didn't mind keeping that one.
So I kept that one.
Clearly,
because it was one of those. It was a staple out there, and I sold so many of them. I think if you are going to transfer from A to B, there has to be a couple of identifiable things.
Yeah. Smart.
Whether it's, me just being veggie or having one or two things that were great sellers and starting down the path. After the Times article, there's no way that I think I can get rid of it. I sell more of that. We started at the Lobbyist with about 18 of the bowls that we were selling mash in the original. And as they slowly, as we all do, get broken, then that damn Times article came out, and I'm just like, geez, like we don't have enough of these.
Yep.
So then we had to find bowls again.
Yes. That's funny, the problems.
Yeah, just based upon that. And, same thing. Same with, with Michelin. I knew nothing about this. I got this random Instagram message, and the guy was like, hey, can I ask you a couple of questions? Do you mind jumping on a phone call?
Yeah.
And I was like, sure, no problem. Sat there, talked to him for a minute. He goes, okay, thank you. And then December 2023 or whatever, he sends me a message, and then I click it, and it says top 26 dishes of 2024, and I'm like, holy, yeah.
Yeah. What do you think is, and you can say too if you want. Yeah. I hate underrated, but underrated. What are maybe two things you wish that people would have ordered more or would order more, depending on if it's on your menu now or in the recent past at the Lobbyist? Sort of like, hate hidden gem, but like something like that. Yeah.
Donahue just wrote about it, and it's the crudo on the menu. But, whenever you say crudo, you think
hamachi.
Fish. Of some type of, right. For us, we take kohlrabi, sous vide it with brown butter, miso, soy, let it go. 12 hours, come back, strain it, rinse it, compress it again, let it sit, and then we shave it paper thin on the slicer.
You should do more stuff to it. It's not enough.
but
thinner, more.
But that is
no, that's amazing. Yeah.
But that's where I think we do a better job than most on vegetables. Is you look at something and you're like, oh, this is really nice, or it tastes great, or you don't understand that there's a 13-hour process before we even started putting it on a plate.
It reminds me so much of hearing artists talk about everything that they do, or like sculptors, multimedia artists. Like, oh, we have to we prep this canvas, we build this in, we let this dry, we, age this, whatever. We burn this and melt it and put it back together.
Perfect example is, you say age, right? So, we do the ribeyes at the Lobbyist. We age those in the cooler. The snapper for Valentine's Day, I got in, or actually it switched to redfish at the last second. But, I got whole fish in and just throw them in the cooler for that exact reason, just to find another way to be different from somebody else.
How has Downtown changed in the last 2 years? And I know this isn't, we're not afraid to ask the questions that we aren't going to be sunshine and rainbows always, but I think it's important to talk about. What have you seen?
So year one, there was the perceived crime wave, right? Did I see any crime? No, because most of the crime that was being written, talked, publicized, whatever the case may be, was early morning hours, right? I say this, and I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. Nothing, and it's grandma, right? Nothing good happens after midnight. And when you're on a side street, typically named after a state, at 3 o'clock in the morning, no offense, that's on you. And most of the things that were happening were not necessarily, just normal people. These people that socialized or did things on those areas in random times of the night.
Right.
But you keep on, and I think there was a huge injustice, if you will, from especially the TV media, not knowing where the hell downtown starts and finishes.
Yeah, just kind of anything that's in the
anything
area
that was even
called.
Yeah, and then why the hell are you going to talk about some shooting that's 15 miles away, but you're going to talk about it in front of the FedEx Forum? It's like, what the hell are you doing?
The lack of context.
Yeah. I think, and you guys are in the business, and I hate to say this, but
we can take it.
I do think that there was a huge injustice just by the media not qualifying or quantifying the statements in which they were making. I got into, and how every once in a while something you'll see on one of the social media sites, you'll see something and it just
It'll get you.
Gotcha.
You
right?
can't let it get you.
I know.
I like about twice a year something gets me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Holly, you know so much better than this.
Yeah.
Like, way better than this.
That was my whole 2020.
Oh, no. Well, people had time. Had time.
I was unfriended by a lot of family members. But anyway, so.
But that can trickle down, and we hear from people that it can really affect business, because people who live in East Memphis and Germantown or Midtown or wherever, then they don't live downtown. They think downtown, and they have a vision in their head, and the vision might be
that there's the wild west.
Well, it might be the front of your restaurant and the wild west happening. It might be the Orpheum. It might be FedEx Forum, and that is not. I think we can safely say that's not always the case with crimes that happen downtown.
We went through the perceived crime wave. Year one, right? So our third, fourth quarter were garbage. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I never, on any of the preliminary numbers, ever included either FedEx Forum or the Orpheum in any of my numbers, because I wanted that to be gravy on top of whatever we made.
Yeah. Wow.
And come to find out, those numbers are nowhere near where they were, right? I depend on both of those venues now. Yeah. There is no downtown normal business, or there wasn't. Mm-hmm. Year two, we started out really good. And then we ended up with the Forum under construction. I think the Orpheum had a light schedule, and I saw no tourism.
In 2024.
None. So, we literally had like 3-4 months. And, you know, me going back and looking at numbers every so often, you know, because it's all graphed, you'll look at it and you'll like, holy shit, we did 15 covers. Yeah. And you're like, now I understand where all my money went.
Mm-hmm. How was 2025?
This past year was, 2025, we did more money than we did year one.
Yeah, that's good. Do you attribute some of that to some of this publicity or changes in the city, or people finally realizing they can go downtown again?
I think it's a little bit of all of that.
Mm-hmm. Can I ask a weird question?
Sure, go for it.
How much do you relate to that, to like the success of the Grizzlies, or...
So the Grizzlies, I don't think play a part in most of my business at all. Yeah. Shape, form, or fashion. Unless it's a huge draw team, right? And I mean that,
like a Lakers, where a bunch of people are traveling in and they need somewhere to eat. Yeah.
That kind of situation where it's a money ticket, like you're spending big money for a ticket, because then you have those type of clientele that are down there looking for that type of experience, not somebody that wants to run in, grab a quick bite, and then run to the game.
Yeah.
But I understand that, and there's nothing wrong with that. So the Grizzlies don't necessarily play any part of all of that. Orpheum, yes. Comedy shows at the FedEx Forum are fantastic for us.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
We had some big ones in 2025, I feel like. And there's a couple like Orpheum and stuff for this year.
End of March for downtown will be super solid. So
Nate Burr.
You got Nate Bargazzi. You got
I'm going to that. I got a gift ticket.
You got Robert Plant like the night before at the Orpheum, and then the night after Bargazzi, there's another one.
So make your reservations now.
Yeah. So March downtown will be great.
We've also seen in 2025. I mean, Catherine and Mary's, Your Neighbors. Mm-hmm. They got kind of a remake, or like a renovation. Yeah. Felicia Suzanne's reopened just down the street. And I mean, we had some closures as well. Like, I don't remember when Bishop closed.
Oh, yeah.
But I feel like with...
Gray closed right after we opened.
Yeah. Majestic still there, doing their thing.
Yeah. I wonder about everybody on the opposite end. I always do. Yeah. Whether it's McEwen's, Majestic. I think McEwen still has a solid lunch crowd because there's not really any place at that caliber for lunch. I don't know what they're...
Flight, yeah, it's down
Oh,
there.
Flight.
Does it seem like, well, here's maybe a tricky question.
All right.
I feel like from what I've heard generally in the restaurant scene, but also in other scenes like arts and theater, like people in Memphis, generally, like, you guys know each other and you talk to each other. You're not like fighting or competing.
No.
Like, the competition is not, to me, it feels like having like 3 solid, finer or more upscale or date night, however you want to describe it, 3 or 4 or 5 of those downtown makes it all better.
More?
It like increases all of it. Like, from the people that are in my age group now, who sadly just do not go downtown the way they used to. I'm like, we need to go downtown. Like, well, we didn't even know about that.
Yeah.
Like, I think the pandemic just, people lost the thread, but they're starting to get it back. So like, they go downtown to try new Felicia's Sands, and they're like, oh, what's that? That's Catherine Mary's. We should go. Or they come to eat at the Lobbyist, and they're like, oh, I see. Next time we'll go to Felicia's. Like, do you see it kind of the rising tide thing, or
yes and no? We are a community, right?
Yeah.
And we all talk, whether it's business, food, whatever the case may be. I don't think any of us have any ill will against any of either side. You know, I'm sure at some point, you know, I can't be blind that I'm sure that there are egos involved in some things.
Just like everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily that, you know, us talking would ever be that. But I'm sure that that plays a scenario somewhere in there.
Related.
Yeah.
Rapid fire question or two before we run out of time. Where do you like to go out when you eat out?
I'm a mood eater.
Mood eater?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So it depends. I can't say that.
You don't have like a regular spot.
No.
Where
What's
do you?
your most recent?
Yeah.
I don't think I can't even remember the last time we went out. I take that back. October we went to Shave Leap.
Nice.
Okay.
That's a good one.
And you know, don't think that I'm bougie and that I'm only going to those calibers. But yeah, I mean,
do you cook at home?
Oh, hell no.
No.
Aaliyah, my other half, she meal preps for me. Because she knows that if I get away from not having something to consume, then I'm just going to eat. And I still do, right? Taste, right? I can't say I eat. I taste everything regularly, right? But
are you doing girl dinner?
Yeah.
And are you familiar with this concept? No. It's just like where you get in there and you get a plate and you're like, I'm going to put like a cheese and a cracker. I'm going to get 2 pickles. I'm going to put these carrots, the tasting. No.
No, you know, especially since, like, I'll go back to the mash, especially since that's got its name now, right? I taste that dish every time it comes out of the damn window.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's certain things that I know that are pan sauces or finished a la minute, and I taste them a lot. Or me going down to the Garmo station and, you know, asking them, hey, how are your spreads today? What's your hummus? And just tasting.
Yeah.
Right?
So you're saying if you don't have that meal prep, you'll just go taste everything in your kitchen at work.
I still taste everything.
Yeah.
But the taste becomes more than just a taste.
A couple of tastes.
Yeah, it's a couple of tastes.
Couple of tastes. Yeah. That is amazing. Thank you so much for all your time. This is the end of our part 2 of our Soundbites episode with Chef Jimmy Gentry from The Lobbyist and Paradox Catering. There's so much for us to talk about, and you've shared so much like history and your passion and your dishes. So if you didn't hear part 1, you need to go back and definitely listen to that. If you somehow have gone through part 2 without doing that, do it. Remember, this is the Daily Memphian Soundbites Food, Drink, and Dining podcast with Holly Whitfield. I'm your host. Again, we were talking with Jimmy Gentry of The Lobbyist. If you're listening on WYXR right now, keep listening for the Sidebar podcast with Eric Barnes, Daily Memphian CEO, talking to arts and culture figures from around town. If you're listening through your podcast app, please take the time to subscribe to Soundbites. This podcast is free. You can find this podcast at jellymemphian.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all of the above, anywhere fine podcasts are streamed. That is all the time. Thank you again so much, Jimmy.
Thank you.
It's been amazing. We're going to go get some mash and some of everything else on your menu, too, and we're going to make our reservations for the end of March right now. Thanks for listening and goodbye.